Welcome back, everyone. So, it is a new week, which means new stuff has become available. We can be able to increase our renown. New stuff has been added. It is also the week that Mythic Castle Nathria has gone live, as well as the first wing for LFR, which of course means the world first race is underway. But that is a whole separate thing. Now, if you're curious, I actually did get into Castle Nathria normal this past week with some friends in a community. We took down 2 bosses. I didn't get anything, so however, we did do 1 mythic key together, and because of that, I was able to also access the Great Vault earlier today, which is basically the new version of the weekly chest that we open. So, like, during 8.3 in BFA, if you did a plus 15 mythic keystone, you would open a chest on Tuesday that could give you a 475 piece of gear. And that was basically all you got, along with some resources like some, what was that thing we were collecting in BFA? The currency. Yeah, the Echoes of Nyalotha. Yeah, you would get some of those things. You know, artifact power for your Heart of Azeroth. But the way they do it now is really cool, where you actually get a choice. Depending on how much of a certain criteria you do, you then get a choice. It shows you a number of options, and then you can be like, I want to choose that one. So what I got for doing the 1 mythic keystone, which is all you need to do to get at least 1 great reward, was a 200 neck piece. You can see there. So I'm working on the gear stuff. What's great about this week is that now it's Dungeon Week, where the final boss of each Shadowlands dungeon will drop an extra item, and the weekly quest for it, Emissary of War here, will actually give you a Heroic Castle of Nathria loot piece. So if you can, try to get a group of friends, or just pug a group or a guild, whatever. Try and do 4 mythic dungeons this week, so that way you can, or obviously this is not going to get uploaded till much later, but you can probably guess I'm certainly going to be working on trying to complete this quest so I can get a 213 loot piece. But in the meantime, also, yes, the first wing for LFR is up for Castle Nathria. It's interesting, though. It says the first one's going to be the Huntsman, the Hungering Destroyer, and Nerva. So not Shriekwing, which is interesting. Obviously, I'll be doing that separate video. But in the meantime, I did get my Renown up to 11, which means I unlocked this part here for Marileth. And I was able to get the next part of the campaign unlocked, as well as my new Necrolord Hearthstone, which is the toy. It does seem to share the cooldown with the regular Hearthstone, which is a shame, but whatever. It's obviously linked directly to this covenant, and you can be able to acquire this with each covenant, but you can only use it if you are part of that covenant. But it's a cool little extra thing there. It's a nice way to be able to go straight back to your covenant. So next one, I'll be able to get Gun Gorgebone. You guys remember him from the Theater of Pain? He'll be a companion for me later on. In the meantime, however, Alexandra Smogreen has something for us. Maldraxxus is on the path to reclaiming its rightful role as defender of the Shadowlands, but the treasonous attack on Bastion remains a stain on our honor. We had thought Garmal's forces routed, but we have received word from the Paragon of Courage that reinforcements have begun arriving at her temple. This threat must be eliminated. I have volunteered to spearhead this operation. Your support would be an asset. Of course.
The constructs have sent reinforcements to Bastion. We must aid the Kyrian's efforts to drive them out.
Hold on.
At the Temple of Courage. It is time to mete out justice.
Sorry, I had the game sound turned down for when I was chatting with, my buddies or guildmates on Discord. So it becomes hard to hear them on the Discord when I have the game sound really loud. So also, I was able to get enough to be able to start researching the rank 2 upgrade for the transport network, but that has like a 12-hour amount of time for it to actually get finished. So that's kind of like just kind of getting underway before we can continue that. Also, each of my abominations had their own quest this week, so that's why you see those there. We also got another quest from Bolvar to go into Torghast. You have rescued 2 of our allies from Torghast, but Anduin and Thrall have yet to be found. That tower's corridors are vast, seemingly endless. You could spend an eternity wandering those unholy halls. In your expeditions you have encountered many unfortunate prisoners. Perhaps one of them has seen or heard something that could guide our search. Seek out any captives that might have the information we need. So that's from Bolvar. That's another daily from Venari. So you can see I have a bunch of stuff. But for now, let us head to Bastion. Alright. Let's go to Sage Haven and take the road from there. The only cure. Also, it's funny, the 2 weekly quests for the dungeons this week are both for Spires of Ascension. So, if I can be able to get into a mythic Spires of Ascension, which, by the way, my key that I got this week did not do that. It was a level 2 the other side. So, I'll probably, like, let my my buddies know, hey, anybody want to do a +2 the other side? You know. And then we'll see, you know, where we go from there. Maybe we might try and just kind of knock out the weekly quest by doing 4. Because if we do, you know, not just Mythic Zeros, but if we do Mythic plus keys, then we also can contribute to our Great Vault rewards. So, because, you know, it's like, do 1 Mythic key, Mythic plus dungeon, which, by the way, you do not have to do them in time. That's actually something that Blizzard clarified. You do not have to do Mythic Plus keys in time in order to get your great reward. You just have to finish the dungeons. So, if you want to get those rewards, you don't necessarily have to worry about doing 10 of them on time. You know, just, you know, finish them. Which, to me, that's a great way to incentivize players. Don't leave the dungeon in the group just because you're not going to make it on time. Because people get so focused on things like Raider IO scores that they don't think about, like, other possible rewards that incentivize you to actually stay and finish the dungeon with your group. Which this has been a very common problem throughout this early part of the expansion. The amount of people that are leaving dungeons after, like, the first boss or 2 just because it didn't drop a particular, like, legendary power recipe or something, and they just leave. And they don't bother helping finish the dungeon. It has become such a big problem. Now, if it's a DPS, it's not too bad because that gets filled up pretty quickly. But if it's a tank or a healer, you're then having to be forced to sit there for another, like, who knows how long until another, you know, is able to meet that queue time. Or queue up for that role. So it becomes very, very annoying. Also, when I do my video on the first wing here, we'll be able to test out and see whether or not the whole, you know, legendary recipes in the raid are guaranteed drops, which it does show in the raid finder that they are part of it. Like Hungering Destroyer drops this one for Death Knights. I'll be able to see whether or not these are guaranteed drops in LFR, which is going to make whether or not people use LFR to farm those instead of actually getting into higher difficulties before they tackle higher difficulties in those raids very interesting. Because, like, for example, on my Demon Hunter, 2 of the better drops in terms of recipes for the Demon Hunter both drop from raid bosses. The last 2 bosses, in fact. Now, I'm not exactly wanting to wait until, you know, that LFR wing gets released, which is going to be much later on, like, you know, several weeks from now. I'd rather, you know, get into a group that clears normal, just so I can be able to get those, and then be able to use those to try and tackle the harder difficulties, which, you know, this has been a big discussion over this past week. whether or not the raid has been overtuned on the difficulties, whether or not it's too hard, or, you know, whether or not we are going back to a time where you basically had to do runs of a raid on a certain difficulty to get the gear from that difficulty before you could take on the next difficulty of that raid. Which is something I'm actually okay with. I like the idea of that, instead of us just jumping straight to heroic or mythic, that we actually do the raid on normal, and then we tackle heroic. Or in the case,
we had nearly retaken our temple when your kind returned in force. I will not rest until this ends.
Neither shall we.
It's okay, Xandria. This is the Ashbringer. He is not like the rest of Maldraxxus, not like Lord Garmel's forces. So anyways, there is something else to this that I mentioned, which is that LFR does drop what seems to be 187, that's 194 because it drops from Denathrius, but in some other bosses, like, it drops 187 gear. So the idea that you're actually getting 187 gear, whereas Mythic Dungeons, usually like Mythic Zeros, they drop 184 gear. So if, let's say, you want to just, you know, try and queue up for LFR, you know, to do that with your character and see if you can get those drops to be able to then tackle normal a little better, you know, that kind of stuff I do like the idea of, you know, whether or not it works right or it's, you know, properly tuned where, you know, like, you're not getting one-shot by almost every other ability the boss has, or you're taking forever to kill it, and, you know, that's something where it's like, okay, maybe it could be, you know, either undertuned or overtuned, but you guys get the idea what I'm trying to say.
Speak without fear.
Your arrival is expected. We await results.
For the Archon and Bastion.
These Maldraxxi fiends have reoccupied my temple. They have entrenched this resurgence with shields powered by necromancy. My disciples, the ones who were not captured and executed by your treacherous compatriots. Excuse me, just because we are all from Maldraxxus does not mean that we are right now all part of the same group that's doing this, okay? There's currently a house division going on right now. Thank you very much. Report that the core of a necrotic bulwark to the south. We cannot counter their forces until the shield is brought down. See it done. I will not tolerate your presence otherwise. Jeez. I cannot fathom where the constructs acquired these reinforcements, but we are once again outnumbered. I see... My goodness, that's a bit of a... Make sure to space those, or unless she... Oh, never mind, she's actually saying, I seethe. I thought she was trying to say, I see the... and then I realized, no, she's saying, I seethe at the thought of my fallen disciples. So I take back what I was saying. You will make this right. The renegades have established a foothold in the northern region of the temple. The necrotic magic has granted them a shield, defending them from ranged assault. Disable it. Let nothing impede you. This is the way of courage. Trust me, you don't have to tell me and this guy here to my left about courage.
Sir? If the Maldraxxi forces prove too deeply entrenched for you to dispatch, then invoke my name. I will purge them myself.
Orders?
With its repeated invasions here, the House of Constructs continues to sully the honor of Maldraxxus. By the way, can I have that mount? I mean, I know I eventually get it, Mograine, but could I have it right now, please? We cannot salvage that honor until justice is done. May we met out so thoroughly that none will ever attempt this desecration again. Eliminate these traitors with me. Leave none standing.
It is in death that we are truly tested.
By the way, I can confirm that they did change his voice actor compared to what he used to be, like, say, in the Death Knight Starter Zone, but I'm okay with that. Okay, she one-shots him. Alright then.
I need to get closer. Meet your demise! Another soldier. We fall. The fury of Maldraxxus.
Don't worry, I'm not too worried. After all, I'm playing as Blood. And these guys seem to be going down pretty quickly, actually. But then again, I've got the Ashbringer with me.
I don't have a target. I need a target.
I hope Xandria comes to see how awesome Alexandros Mograine is. Because this is the Ashbringer. We know how awesome he is.
I don't have a target.
We know that this is a guy who, yeah, like... I mean, as I said when we first saw him, it almost feels like he doesn't need an introduction. Because he is the Ashbringer. I mean, yeah, in a manner of speaking, we inherited that title from, at least my paladin inherited that title from Tyrion Fordring when he died in Legion, but let's be honest. Mograine will always be the Ashbringer. Nothing's ever going to change that.
Close!
I mean, he still has the title, for goodness sakes. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Let's see. Oh, gotta go this way. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast.
The bulwark is unguarded. Stay vigilant. An ambush! Cut them down!
Face the wrath of courage!
Another soldier
There we go.
falls.
Whoops. That's what you get for clicking! Yeah, I know.
We will not
Oh,
be
hello.
pushed out. Maldraxxus will hold!
Ah, this guy is like that one construct boss I face in Torghast. Alright, let's have her face this guy. Oh, she didn't kill him. She took like half his health. Woo, this guy is tanky. Choke. Tenderize! Oh, that reminds me of what it was like playing Stitches in Heroes of the Storm. You know, back when I played that game. Those were the days when I played Heroes of the Storm and I actually loved the game. Like, I would play that game almost every day. I miss back when I actually had fun playing that. Those were fun times. Alright, hold on. This is probably why they gave me this ability, because they're like, look, when you encounter these guys, you're gonna need it, because yeah, they are tanky, and well, he doesn't seem to hit like a truck, but then again, I am playing a Blood DK, so I'm a little bulkier than compared to, say, if I was on my mage, for example. There we go.
Bad.
Not bad. Alright. This is great. I'm stuck in combat, so I can't mount up for now. Alright. Now I can mount.
Face me.
Break you to pieces!
Your defeat comes.
The bulwark is up ahead, and its guard. It would be wise to invoke the Paragon.
My final battle.
By the way, some of you might be wondering, why didn't Mograine end up here? Well, I'm pretty sure that's going to get answered here while we're here. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a question that he poses while we're here, and we may actually find an answer for that. Because I'm sure some people were like, wait, the Ashbringer is in Maldraxxus instead of Bastion? Why? Well, given what we have actually come to know during our time here in Bastion,
we have secured the perimeter.
Done.
Let us regroup with the Paragon. Even in death we must fight.
our will is done.
I will not suffer this corruption any longer.
Alright, hold on. Let's buff myself a bit. By the way, I saw that I believe either. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of the Venthyr Soulbind, where it like buffs your well-fed and flask effects and all that for by like 20%. I was like, oh, I want to get that.
For the Archon.
We have only just begun.
Always.
This will begin to set things right.
It is the way.
We have rendered the enemy holdouts defenseless. My disciples will begin preparations to purge the corruption that your errant kind have left on our home. Could you please stop including me in the same sentence with them? But more still remain in the inner sanctum of the temple. Their defenses prevent us from flying in en masse, but I can secure a foothold myself. We will cross the breach and annihilate them.
Always speak with me when you are ready to cross, Maldraxxi. Do not waste my time. Serve with courage. Your foul necromancers have enveloped the inner sanctum in a toxic cloud. I can only reach the entrance. The monsters within are too powerful for you alone. Clear the skies for me. Then their fate will rest in my hands.
We will see it done, Paragon.
You have my attention.
This is as close as I can take you. Make it count.
It is the way.
My Kyrian would have attempted to retaliate by now, but these vile interlopers are a devious sort. Their necromancers pollute the air, tainting it with foul power that corrodes our very wings. I cannot advance on an assault until they are eradicated. Deal with these befoulers, and I will deliver retribution to the rest.
For the Archon and Bastion, clear the skies, Maldraxxi. I will meet you at the Western Landing when you are through.
What do you need?
These turncoats have kept busy. They've opened more portals around the area, allowing themselves to replenish their numbers with little trouble. Even with her might, the Paragon cannot eliminate an endless army. Let us destroy these portals without reinforcements to sustain this contingent. It will surely fall.
Ambition is nothing without honor.
You know, the funny thing is that this thing with the portals and the fact that this is like the Maldraxxi army, which is kind of a play on... Well, let's be honest. You know, there's a lot of comparison here between the Maldraxxi army and the Scourge. But then again, it was the Burning Legion that used the portals to keep reinforcing their armies and just giving them this endless army aspect to them. So I just find it funny that right now we're kind of dealing with a Scourge-like army that's also using portals like the Burning Legion. You know? And we've had this kind of debate for a long time. For a long time we have debated, you know, things like, Scourge versus Burning Legion, who would win, where it then brings up, okay, well, then there's a number of other things we would have to try and figure out and discuss, like whether or not Scourge could be corrupted by Fel, whether or not, the demons of the Burning Legion could be brought back as undead, numerous factors about that conversation, where it's like, it's so hard to answer that question. We'll deal with the Befouler there once we have dealt with these portals.
This land festers.
No longer can they sustain themselves. Good work. Alright, let's go take care of this Befouler over here. There's 3. Nox.
We will choke the skies!
Wait, did Mograine taunt? I guess he's trying to tank for me. It's okay, Mograine. I'm playing blood. I got this.
Mograine! The Maw will seem a fond memory when I am done with you.
Antolite. She could never defeat me in the arena. She will not defeat us here.
I want to know more about your time in the arena, Mograine. Seriously. I want to know about, the amount of fights that you had in there and how many you won.
Poison fills the air, and your blood will fill your lungs. You rush headlong to your demise. I look forward to tearing you apart.
Join this.
Yet you cower in your necropolis. I will silence your boasting with a single strike.
I need a target.
I mean, look, I'm just saying, you do not want to be hit by... Look, I'm sure... It's not the Ashbringer, but I'm sure the Fatebringer is just as nasty to be get hit by. Just saying.
I'm out of range. The Tyrian will fall!
The sky's clear. Regroup with me on the Western Landing, Maldraxxi. Retribution is at hand.
Pathetic little weaklings. You cannot stop the House of Constructs.
I beg to differ, Baroness.
Welcome, brave.
Now we are ready. At last the skies belong to us once more, and in those skies the storm of our vengeance brews. Come, you who claim to be true Maldraxxi, you wish to right the wrongs of those who you once called allies? Then rain down your justice upon them. Show no quarter.
It is on me, Maldraxxi. Together we will mark my targets, Maldraxxi. I will smite them with haste.
I need to get closer.
Let the rain of justice cleanse this ground!
Look, Mograine's flying with us. I like that he's doing the tanking role, meaning that you can be able to do this basically with any class and role. Righteous Blade Master, that's funny.
You have my attention.
Full courage. The evil that threatens Bastion crumbles beneath us, but if we allow this cruel Baroness to evade justice, we have not won this day. She cowers in the necropolis above, casting her shadow on this once sacred temple. We will pull the dagger from our backs. This wound will heal.
Sir, we have but one enemy left to slay. Speak to me when you are prepared. For the Archon and Bastion.
Enough of your meddling. Face me, so that I might crush you once and for all.
Coward! I will rip your carcass from my temple and cast it into oblivion!
All of Bastion will be ours! You will never win.
At last, the darkness clears from my temple. Yet I feel it will not be absent long without action.
The constructs
Speak
are nothing
without
if not
fear.
persistent. But I swear to the light that we will purge them from Bastion.
Yeah, about that swearing to the light thing, Mograine. May want to hold off on that. May her memory fade from this place. A new... Oh. She had to phase for a moment.
Welcome.
A new dawn shines on Bastion. I had my reservations, but you have proven that honor yet remains in Maldraxxus. Take my hand once more. I will return you to the temple's entrance. Let all Maldraxxi know of our victory, and for the sake of peace, ensure that this never happens again.
Always move forward. With the Maldraxxi gone, courage can regain its strength. My kin will be hungry for vengeance against the constructs.
And they shall have it. But assaulting the House of Constructs is no mean task. We need time to prepare our forces.
I find myself wondering, are we going to take care of Garmal at the end of this campaign? Or could that possibly be saved for a raid? I'm wondering if we're going to have a raid almost in every zone, and a raid in Maldraxxus would be us assaulting the two hostile houses that have been against us during our time there.
For the Archon.
Or maybe just one of those houses, with either Garmal or Sindane being the final boss. May our paths cross again.
It is the way.
We have little time to waste.
Nixuzad, I have a favor to ask, if I may. This realm, the sense of honor and purpose that guides its denizens calls to me. My life was defined by such values. Maldraxxus, for a time, shared them with me. But I returned from the Maw to a land rife with treachery. I'd like to speak with the Paragon about Bastion.
Trample our enemies.
So this is kind of funny because some people found out about this, I think, in the beta, and they were joking that this was basically a play on the whole whether or not players would want to switch from one covenant to the other and what that would take. So here is Mograine basically, quote-unquote, chose Maldraxxus, and now he's having second thoughts and wants to go join the Kyrians. Get it? Yeah. However, this is a cool in-lore way to go about this, because, like I said earlier, it makes sense that perhaps he should have been here. But I have a feeling that during this little exploration of this, we're going to find out something more in regards to why he ended up in Maldraxxus instead of Bastion.
Welcome,
Why the Arbiter chose him to send him there. Alexandros here, he feels that Bastion shares his values more than Maldraxxus. What do you think, Xandria?
Always move forward. Ashbringer. The Arbiter's judgment is infallible. She must have recognized something within you that was meant for Maldraxxus.
Yet I dedicated my life in service to the light. Is that not what earns a place in Bastion?
Walk with me, both of you. Our aspirants shed their memories in the Temple of Purity, but we will follow a different path. Does Maldraxxus not suit you?
When I first looked upon the Maldraxxi, all I could see was the scourge that brought ruin to my homeland. The monsters I had sworn to destroy. In time, I learned that they are not the mindless undead I thought them to be. That honor has its place in Maldraxxus. Or at least it did.
The memories of your life bear torment in death. Were you chosen for Bastion, they would be deemed a burden.
But why was I not chosen? Was my faith in the light not strong enough? Was my soul tainted from the moment I rose into undeath?
Light, void, such trifling powers have no purchase here. The Arbiter sent you to Maldraxxus for a reason. One we shall attempt to discern.
I love that quote, by the way. Light, void, such trifling powers have no purchase here. I love that quote. The fact that she's referring to the light and the void as trifling powers, but also saying that that has no meaning whatsoever in terms of, like, say, buying your way into a certain zone of the Shadowlands. Like, Uther's reasons for going to Bastion instead of Mograine are different. It has nothing to do with whether or not they were servants of the light. That's not the reason why they go to Bastion, as we're finding out here with regards to Mograine, because that's what he thinks matters. He thinks that if you are a faithful servant of the light, like almost any of the paladins, the good paladins, like, for example, have you noticed we haven't found Tyrion yet? I find myself wondering where Tyrion Fordring is right now. And where would he have gone? Which zone? I doubt he would have gone to either Ardenweald or Revendreth. So someone like Tyrion, I think, would have gone to either Bastion or Maldraxxus. Now, the reasons between Uther and Mograine, though, well, I think we're about to find out some of the more specific reasons as to why there's a difference between those two in regards to this here.
For the Archon.
Come, there is much to show you.
Serve with...
This is the site of an ancient battle that was won by the previous Paragon of Courage. Yeah, we did that side quest. She sacrificed herself to serve the Shadowlands. I only hope that my own end will prove as exemplary. Many of my disciples meditate upon the scrolls here. With them, we remember the foundation of our courage. Accompany Alexandros as he reflects on his shrines. Aid him in understanding where the source of his courage lies. He will learn that this afterlife is not the one suited for him.
For the meditate on these scrolls, Alexandros. Glean the source of your courage. The reason we are not alike.
The light has always been my courage. But I will see what these scrolls reveal.
Nah. Remember, Mograine, I'm a Death Knight. I was there. I was there at Light's Hope Chapel when you came back for a moment to talk to your son Darian before the Lich King tried to take you for himself, but there is more to your courage and strength than the light. Like, the fact that I'm doing this as a Death Knight, with the fact that there was that connection with the starting zone event at Light's Hope Chapel for Death Knights, which you can still do today, by the way, just really kind of, like, adds to this moment here. Let's reflect with him.
Is that Elena? My love. My light. She is still as radiant as when I last held her. To think she'd be forgotten if I... Forgive me. Let us continue onward.
Yep. It goes back to what we learned about Bastion when we first came here, earlier on, towards the beginning of this playthrough. What we learned about what happens when members join the Kyrian. What are they told to do? Forget about your mortal life. Or rather, as they put it, your mortal burdens. Your memories. Who you were, who you loved, who was important in your life. All your memories and everything that was important to you. They are burdens when you join the Kyrian. So you must forget about them. But only if they are truly memories that are truly an actual burden. If that was a memory of his wife, who he still clearly loves to this day, would that really be considered a burden? I mean, I would certainly think not. But let's see what the other reflections are. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out. And pretty sure that we already have a good idea as to what they are.
Renault, my eldest. My demise.
Yeah, Renault.
His betrayal haunts me, even in death. My son. Would this pain be best forgotten? Please, let us move on.
For those of you who do not know or remember, Renault was, as he said, it was his eldest son, but more importantly, he was the one who actually killed Alexandros because he joined the Scarlet Crusade and backstabbed his father. Literally stabbed him in the back. Now, a cool little event happened back in Vanilla when you were able to obtain the Ashbringer, or rather the corrupted Ashbringer, because remember, Mograine used to be part of the Four Horsemen in the Vanilla version of Noxramas. Now, he had the corrupted Ashbringer as his weapon in that fight back in the day. A cool little thing happened where if you were actually able to obtain the corrupted Ashbringer in Vanilla, and you went to the Scarlet Monastery, and you faced Renault, who was like part of the Vanilla version along with Whitemane back in the day, and you walked in with corrupted Ashbringer, Alexandros would walk out of the Ashbringer, and Renault would be just stunned by this, and he'd be like, "It's okay, son. It's alright. Everything's gonna be fine now." And then he kills him as revenge. Now, I believe in lore, they actually changed it to Darien was the one, because later on Darien, of course, got the corrupted Ashbringer. That Darien, in lore, was the one who went to the monastery and used that, was the one who brought it in there so that his father could kill Renault. But yeah, that's the legacy of Renault Mograine. Joining the Scarlet Crusade, and then being the one who killed Alexandros Mograine, in service of the Scarlet Crusade. Which, you know, wasn't entirely what he wanted to do, but, you know, we all kind of learned about how horrible and manipulative the Scarlet Crusade really was. Heck, there were even hints that Renault actually ended up in a relationship with Whitemane, since she basically calls out to him when we kill her in the monastery. Let's see what this next one is.
Darien, you died to free me from the Scourge, and still you stand in defense of Azeroth. I will never forget your sacrifice. Never.
And that is why he is not here with the Kyrians. Because, well, I think it should be pretty obvious. He doesn't need to forget the memory of his family, because they are not a burden to him. They are his strength.
My beloved son, I am so proud of you. and nothing will ever take that from me. I believe I understand now. Let us return to the Paragon.
You have my attention. Do you understand now, Alexandros?
I'm waiting for his response.
Always move forward.
Did this venture enlighten you?
Serve with courage.
I keep waiting for him to respond. The Arbiter's judgment was, as always, infallible. Though Alexandros' devotion to the light is undeniable, it is the memory of his loved ones that truly fuels his strength. He was meant for Maldraxxus, not Bastion. Nonetheless, our reclamation of the temple stands. My vengeance is not yet complete, but now I know that some of the Maldraxxi can still be trusted. Go now. Return to your leader with news of our victory today, and tomorrow we shall purge our foes once and for all.
It is the Arbiter saw that your memories are not a burden, but your source of strength. That is why you belong in Maldraxxus.
I see that now. Honor may have forsaken Maldraxxus, but together we will restore what has been lost. Go on, Mawwalker. I would like a moment to reflect.
Of course. I'll see you back at the seat of the Primus. Ooh, look at the animation. Cannot wait to see what the others look like. And yep, that confirms it shares a cooldown with your regular Hearthstone, so... bit of a bummer, but oh well.
Blood and thunder.
So, we have proven our honor and gained a new ally.
For Praxis. For Akarek.
What is my task?
The machinations of war commence. Garmel's crimes are now evident to all of the Shadowlands. Bastion demands vengeance, and we shall share it with them. Only our combined forces will defeat the constructs once and for all. Meet Draka at the Overlook. Your presence there will help solidify an agreement.
We will get a cosmetic, the battle standard, and increase our renown.
I await the next battle.
Wait for me, Draka.
I'm out of range.
Your presence here is welcome, Paragon. We share a common enemy.
Hey, Xandria.
Mograine speaks highly of your leadership and courage, Draka. I am honored to finally meet you.
That's great.
I see the Mawwalker is with you. I trust their choice to ally with you. And with that,
I crossed the words good and great. My bad.
The reign of Margrave Garmal ends this day. We shall gather our forces and prepare the Zerachris for an assault.
So we're taking down Garmal now. Okay.
Speak without...
I was curious if she had anything to say about being here in Maldraxxus.
How goes the fight?
An alliance is secured. Now we plan the attack. With Bastion as our ally, we have the strength to crush Garmal and the House of Constructs. We will gather the supplies for the attack, but our soldiers need a great champion to follow into battle. Prove to them that you are the champion that they seek.
Got to increase my renown to 13. So I guess Xandra's just going to chill up here until I increase my renown. But we got our renown now up to 12, which means we now have Gungorgebone as a companion. So I guess I have to wait till next week to get this next part here, a Golden Dawn, which also upgrades Emily. Unless, let's go check inside to see if maybe another quest has popped up. By the way, this is now here. Yay! Also, I got this part here. But yep, we now have this right here. I mean, I'm still wanting to get the wings, but sure, I'll take it. I love that we're getting all these extra cosmetic items. It's something I've wanted in WoW for a long time, and I'm glad that they're finally adding it. I was hoping that guy had a new quest like, hey, go into the mall and get 5 more souls. But nope. You can see I gotta wait another 4 hours and 45 minutes before this gets upgraded.
Reach out and claim your glory.
What can you do for me?
Ooh, hello. Hold on a second.
Need something?
Oh, this is how we get Gorgebone here.
We've got an exciting development today. You must have made quite an impression. Gungorgebone, one of the champions of the Theater of Pain, is demanding to join our ranks here. Demanding it.
Stay sharp out there.
He's a tank. He heals every round. Woo! So yeah, I also got this guy in Torghast. I also got Meatball in Torghast. I'm glad to see he makes a comeback from his time in Legion. So now I've got Gorgebone, Gorgelimb, and Emily. I'm just getting my own little army of constructs for the table here. But he's my first tank unit, so I'm hoping the rewards for these continue to go up. Otherwise it's just going to be kind of like a, like, really? But anyways. So now it's back to some of the off-camera stuff. I gotta head back to the mall and turn this in to work on my rep with Venari. I gotta do stuff for my constructs. Gotta take care of this. Gotta go take care of the 2 new wings here in Torghast. Fracture Chambers and Upper Reaches, which I believe Fracture Chambers... Well, it may not be on this character, because I may have already gotten it. Oh, if you get it, it doesn't show where you're supposed to get it, so never mind. I was going to be like, I think I already got something from that wing. So yeah, there's a lot of these, it's like, this one, you just got to do a layer 6, so... Some of these other ones, I'm pretty sure I've already gotten from Torghast. I just need to either get from the raid or dungeons. Or purchase from getting rep with other factions here. Oh, by the way, I got this one for getting the quest for collecting a reward from the Great Vault. You just get one of these for that, so... I do, if I want to get one of these, I think one of these has to do with PvP. In terms of you gotta get rep in order to acquire. Purchase for honor. Yeah. So, yeah. I have some off-camera stuff to do, but I think we might start taking a look at LFR Castle Nathria. Get an idea of how tough that actually could be. Now, I may go ahead and do some other mythic dungeons in the meantime to kind of gear up a little better before doing that, but at the same time, you know, LFR has always been it has always supposed to have been the easiest difficulty for any raid. You know, I know it's got a reputation, but that's essentially what it's supposed to be. Basically, the story mode of the raids in WoW, even though it's not technically a story mode. I believe that's actually something in other MMOs. I think I heard Lord of the Rings Online had a story mode for their raids. It's what I've wanted LFR to basically be, you know. Just basically turn that into a story mode version of the raid, where people are doing that just to see the story, you know? But anyways, what do I know? But that may be something I start working on. Whether or not I show that, you know, because as you can see, only the first wing is available, and the others won't get released until later. I think the next wing will get released maybe 2 weeks from now. In fact, I can actually see on the calendar here. So you can see here, it's December 15th, Mythic, and, you know, you can see here, it says Mythic difficulty awaits, and players can now access the Raid Finder to access the first section of the raid, the Leeching Vaults. And you can look here, the dungeon event ends, time walking is back. And then, next month on January 5th, which is, that's 3 weeks from now, that's when Wing 2 will get released here. As you can see, it says it will access the second section. 2 weeks later, we'll be able to get the third section. And then 2 weeks after that is when we get the final section. So we have to wait until February 2nd, Groundhog Day, to be able to actually do the entire raid in LFR. Now this is interesting. What's this? Beasts of Prodigum has been unleashed upon Torghast. I don't know what that means. That I do find that kind of cool. The idea of that the weekly event will have to do with Torghast. It makes sense they would have weekly events for Torghast. Makes perfect sense. That's such a big feature would, of course, have some kind of event here. Chorus of the Dead Souls begins. Another interesting, different weekly event for Torghast. So I like the idea that they would be adding weekly events. But we'll probably take a look at the first wing, which is not going to start off with the first boss you actually encounter in the raid, Shriekwing, which is odd. But instead, it'll start off with Huntsman, and then Destroyer, and then Inerva Darkvein. Kind of an odd way to do that, but we'll see. So, stay tuned.